welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is the man who came up with the word New Wave Horror. It's Zach Beckler.
I came up with that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Wait, didn't you hate that term, New Wave Horror? Wait, what's
You know what?
On Facebook one time, you were like, what's that term that people have been calling horror lately? And you're like, that's not right. What was it?
Oh, God. So there's so many lately. There's the golden age, the new golden age of horror.
Yeah.
There's elevated horror.
That's what it was.
Oh, God. Elevated horror.
I mean, is that like Devil? Is that movie Devil?
That's elevator.
Oh, elevator horror. That's an unexplored subgenre, I believe.
Yes, it is. I think elevated horror has to do, what I said was, it's any horror movie that starts with the letter A, so it's on your top shelf in alphabetical order.
You know, I redid my Blu-rays for color.
Oh, that's smart. Except when you want to find a movie, you have to remember what color it is.
But then I'm lazy, and they're all over the place now. You know me, man. I can't stick with one thing.
It's just a mess on my shelf. It's like, okay, this is just Criterion in some kind of order. This is just like Scream Factory. This is 4K, and then the rest are just around.
Do I need to invest in 4K? Because I don't have a 4K Blu-ray yet.
Okay, so kids, this is what's the down low on 4K Blu-rays. The resolution is not important. It's all about the high dynamic range. And if you don't have a high dynamic range television, it's not worth it.
Got it. I mean, I just put them all on Vudu anyway.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I still buy a lot of Blu-rays, but I love putting them on Vudu. And they go to movies anywhere.
Vudu does Dolby Vision now.
Do they?
Occasionally.
Wow.
Movies.
It's not going anywhere, is it? Netflix does it?
Netflix does Dolby Vision, like Roma is in Dolby Vision. And Mowgli is in Dolby Vision.
You've always been much more into that than I have.
Yeah, it's just obsession, really. It's what it is.
I'm more about, hey, how far did the creature from It Follows walk? Or like, you know.
Yes, but what's their contrast ratio?
Yeah. No, did you watch The Ritual for this episode?
That is one I did not get to, and I'm very upset about. I watched Apostle last night in preparation for this.
I love The Ritual. They did like I can't think. Aspect ratio of 2:1. And you know how the Crown, you know, on Netflix just looks beautiful. And I loved how they did that because in The Ritual, I love how the trees just look massive. Like they're lost in a forest, and because of the 2:1, the trees just look enormous. It's a beautiful decision from the director.
Yeah, I think I like that 2:1 ratio because it's like not quite 16:9 and it's not quite widescreen. It's still cinematic, but there's headroom.
They did that with Jurassic World as well. 2:1.
I don't talk about that movie.
Well, you know, I broke down the odds of that assistant getting picked up by a pterodon and being dropped and then dropped into the creature's mouth, and it was 1 in 23 million.
That was a bad day then.
Well, hey, man, I just want to say, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's like all the events of that day of the park doing all that was just so this one incident could happen.
Yeah. Like, everything had to fall perfectly into place for that thing to be swooping.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, yes. And then that poor assistant, what did she do?
She was on her phone. She was on her phone, Zach. And she got stuck doing a job she didn't want to do because her boss forgot about it and was busy and shucked some kids off, and then they totally ditched her. But she's bad.
Doesn't Vincent D'Onofrio, weaponize raptors?
Yeah, he wants to weaponize a raptor. I did watch a movie the other day, though, where a military guy wanted to weaponize something even more ridiculous. And I forget what it is.
Sounds like Carnosaur or something.
Yeah, it's mini raptors. Just running around with little helmets on. We need those, Zach.
Oh, no, the mini raptors.
I bet the drone industry is like, oh, crap.
Maybe if we weaponized pterodactyls, too.
Oh,
then the drone industry would be upset.
Death from the sky. Carrying Amazon packages? Yeah. And then they wait with the Amazon package until the person grabs it, then they fly away. So then there's no theft.
Yes. Yes, I think this movie needs to be made.
Until they unionize, and then we get a Norma Ray, but Pterodactyl Ray film.
But whatever we do, it has to all be set in a mansion.
Yeah. Yep. Away from brontosauruses being surrounded in smoke.
Hey, where are we going to set the next Jurassic Park? In a mansion.
I know.
Why?
I'm so glad I'm talking to you about this because I tend to really look on the positive of films. You know, who's ever listened to this podcast, I can spin gold out of any single movie. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I'm sorry if y'all liked it, but I don't feel like it was written by a human. I know humans wrote it, but what I'm saying is the dialogue is just not.
Humans didn't write it. Colin Trevorrow wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked his movie with the gun-toting mom better than Fallen Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
The Book of Henry.
Oh, yes.
I watched The Book of Henry, and I went, my review on the website is, what just happened? I like The Book of Henry because I feel like the people who wrote it thought they were writing something great. Does that make sense?
Yes. And he was attached to make that before he ever got Jurassic World.
Got it. It's just like a little quirky indie project?
Yeah, it was like going to be his follow-up to Safety Not Guaranteed. And then Jurassic World. And you know what? Let me go back to that. And
you know, the third one is taking place in a shopping mall with zombies, and the world has been taken over by dinosaurs, right? And people lock themselves in a mall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds original.
Yeah.
I think it could be a good metaphor hidden in there.
For don't genetically modify dinosaurs.
Because then you'll be consumers. What?
Yeah.
No.
I love both. Yeah, I got a big post coming up in January for Rotten Tomatoes about remakes. I looked at about 40 years worth of remakes, and it just made me realize how much I love the Dawn of the Dead remake.
It's got some solid stuff in it, especially the first 10 minutes.
I love
probably Zack Snyder's best movie.
I think so. I like the music. I think the music's used really well. I think there are time in the mall, like finding zombie Burt Reynolds. The first 10 minutes, yeah, they're really good. I just like. I've watched it. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. I just think it works for me, doesn't it? It's James Gunn written and Zack Snyder directed, and I think they had a pretty nice blending of styles, the two of them.
Remember how much growing up, like Ain't It Cool News hated James Gunn?
No, they hated Slither and all those movies.
No, well, they hated him for Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
and they hated him for Dawn of the Dead remake.
I love the Dawn of the Dead remake, and I like in Scooby-Doo 2. I think you and I have talked about this, Zach. There's a moment in Scooby-Doo 2 where a cotton candy monster threatens Shaggy and Scooby, and instead of Shaggy and Scooby being afraid, they eat the cotton candy monster. He goes, I'm the cotton candy monster. And then they go, ooh. And then they eat him. And the cotton candy monster looks legitimately afraid. Like, I am about to die. They eat a monster. That's brilliant. I could retire on that, Zach. Like, that'd be my retirement.
Like Ernest Scared Stupid levels of brilliance.
Yeah. Ernest Scared Stupid. That is a brilliant movie, isn't it?
I set you up for that because I know how much you think that's the greatest movie of all time.
You know what my goal in life is, Zach?
What?
So I've gotten a lot of eyes on really random stuff. My goal is to get Ernest Scared Stupid and Deep Blue Sea in the conversation of those are actually good movies, not guilty pleasures, not, it's so bad it's good. I want these movies to be looked at as good movies. I can do it.
That's your cross to bear, like my cross is Magic Mike Double XL.
Yeah, exactly. Well, apparently your students write comments about how you can make people believe it's one of the best.
I don't have to do anything because it just is.
You know what?
The movie doing all the work.
I like the first one a lot. I like the Tampa area. I thought that captured the vibe really well. I haven't watched the sequel, so I should bring you back next year. I want to hear about this.
Okay, here's the thing about watching Magic Mike Double XL. You can't watch it at home alone. You got to bring a bunch of people together and just really commit to it. And it'll be the best movie experience ever if you just do that.
I feel like I'm just going to wind you up and put you in front of a mic and talk for an hour, and then I have a podcast. Mark, what are you doing?
Pretty much.
You get it. You get the You get what I'm doing, Zach. There's no real plug-in. I'm not really winding you up, but you know what I mean. All right, so I recorded a commentary for Deep Blue Sea for the podcast, and
I did not.
It almost killed me.
Oh no.
You know me, man. I can talk, but when you're by yourself watching a movie, commenting on it for an hour and 45 minutes, it was rough, man. But I feel like I did it. I feel like everything you need to know about Deep Blue Sea is on that commentary. But I was sweating. I was flop sweating, Zach.
Yeah, I had to record a commentary for my feature, and you'd think it was just like, oh, I'll just watch the movie and talk, but it was like a 4-hour process of like, no, stop, that was stupid.
Yeah.
I gotta go back.
It's tough, right? And I did it on a time crunch. I was like, well, I don't have much time, so I'll just knock this out now. Horrible idea. But I came through. I think I blacked out for about a half hour of it and just sang songs from Blink-182 and Simon and Garfunkel. But fast forward through
that concept album is really weird that they made together.
I mean, if you think about their music, right, you really do kind of have a little bit of emotion and emo, and you have them kind of, just the sound of silence, and then you have Blink-182 singing about, depression and all that, and you combine their stuff, and it's not bad. It's good.
Do you combine it in a Wizard of Oz, Dark Side of the Moon kind of way, where it turns out they're all on the same kind of rhythm?
Yeah, it just sounds like a Bowie album when you combine both of them.
It's like Aladdin saying, that piano's not, but yes it is. Oh my God. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, so that's my next goal, is to combine those and make it work. All right, so
I want to remake this, and I want to do it right.
Yep.
Basically.
I'm gonna do it right this time. Well, I'm excited to have you back, man. I gotta say, I brought you into you kind of came in quickly to talk about Annihilation earlier this year, and that's a movie, dude. It's my second favorite movie of the year. I absolutely adore it, but I've only watched it a couple times, so I haven't let it sink in. And so for me, it was a tough job to bring you in and talk about that. So I figured I'd bring you back so we could talk about your bread and butter. Because you are an award-winning horror director. Interior, Amazon Prime. I showed it to my students, and they thought it was awesome. I talked about the budget and everything like that. And
thank you.
Yeah, no, they were like, how much money did he make it for? He did that? That's his shot? You can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can. So they all loved it. I told them to buy it, but I don't think any of them did. They probably watched it on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, Interior, watch it. So I brought you in. We're going to talk about the best horror films of 2018. And Zach, I looked through my old list and I looked through your list, and I think this is the best year for horror in the last probably 5 years.
It's a really good one. Last year was also very good. It had higher highs maybe, but this was more consistently good.
Yeah,
year.
That's a very good point.
Get Out.
Yeah.
It. We had I don't remember. It was a year ago, but we had a lot of good stuff. I think this year was a good year for indie horror, like last year was a good year for studio horror.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were some massive hits last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think James Wan is the one who did it all with Insidious. I think he ushered in a new thing.
I think so, too. I think he hit that in The Conjuring, and you can see how the way he films and builds suspense, it just permeates something like It.
Yeah.
Which is just a series of really good suspense scenes and maybe a narrative that kind of ties them together.
I look at it as like a funhouse vibe. The Insidious movies, I think they're like a roller coaster. They're just just throwing you all over the place with jump scares. And I love it. Yeah. I love Lynn Shay. She's so good.
I love that there's a Lynn Shay cinematic universe.
Yes.
How did this happen? And no matter how bad, I thought Insidious 4 was just okay, a little too much nonsense in this.
Yeah.
But I was still happy there was a Lynn Shay, I can't think of the word.
A fronted movie that made
franchise
300 million worldwide. I love it. All right. So what we did was Zach turned in his top 10. I turned in my top 10.